Full disclosure, Vuzix sent these to me to review them. I didn't pay for them, but it's not a sponsored endorsement. I'll give you my honest opinions on what I think about these goggles and whether I think they're a wise purchase decision or not. So stay tuned for that. We're gonna have a lot of fun.
What we do here is go back.
Morning, everybody. So like we talked about, getting ready to do a triathlon here in the next couple of months, starting the training. Mornings from now on will be some kind of way dealing with the training. I biked the first day, ran the second day. Today we're gonna do what's called a brick. So I'm gonna run, bike, and run. Let's go. Okay, just waiting on the watch to get GPS and we'll get going. Gotta make sure the watch is up to date because if you can't put it on Strava, did it ever really happen? Okay, we're good. See you in a second. Okay, first run done, 1.71 miles. I'm clearly not in triathlon shape. Let's go in and ride the bike. Okay, we're back in. Let's get this bike ride going. The best part about having your bike on an indoor trainer is you can watch YouTube while you're working out. I like watching YouTube. The new episode of Res Runs came out today. You should probably go watch that while you yourself are riding your indoor trainer. That's what I'm gonna do. The best part of any run, the end. All right, I'm gonna go shower, then let's get to the review. Pretty excited to share what I think about these goggles with you guys, so. Okay, we're finally back. Man, so full disclosure, it's like 8 hours after that run. I haven't done something like that in a minute. With the heat here, just even running at like 9 o'clock this morning, that destroyed me. I had to go buy a new pair of running shoes today. I had to take a 2-hour nap. I was wasted, so we're a little late getting started for this. I want to film this and then I'm gonna go straight into the live stream that I'm so excited for. Hopefully, because you're in the future, it was a good time, which I'm sure it will be. Since I did a rehearsal last night to make sure that everything was working, so there's actually, and I'll put the picture here, there's a pretty funny picture somebody tweeted me, because the thumbnail it uses, if you don't set one, it just automatically picks one. YouTube likes to pick automatic thumbnails that have a lot of white in the eyes, and so it was like one of me looking terrified. It's pretty funny. But we're not here to talk about today. We've already talked about the run. I'm gonna start doing that every morning so that you guys can keep me honest about training for my triathlon in September. But the main point of today is, we already did the unboxing, you can see it here. I want to give kind of a review on what my thoughts are about these. They call them headphones, but what I've been using them for is FPV goggles for my DJI Spark. Full disclosure, Vuzix sent these to me to review them. I didn't pay for them, but it's not a sponsored endorsement. I'll give you my honest opinions on what I think about these goggles and whether I think they're a wise purchase decision or not. So stay tuned for that. We're gonna have a lot of fun. The Vuzix iWear headphones, they call them headphones because they're part headphones. They really sell them as an all-in-one multimedia setup. We already went through the main specs, but I'm gonna read a couple off the back of the box here. And here you can see them all right there. But the main ones I want you to focus on are, it's got twin 1 million pixel displays in the goggles here, and I'll show these to you in just a second. But so it's twin display. It actually looks like you've got a gigantic movie screen right in front of your face. I've had these for about a week now. I've been playing with them from everything from my drone and then some things that I really like about them that we'll talk about here in a second. But it's just like having a gigantic screen in front of your face. They say it can do augmented reality and virtual reality. You have to download some extra apps or programs for that. I have not personally used them. I'm not very big into augmented reality or virtual reality. Not saying I wouldn't do it, it's not something I'm into right now. This also has a 3-axis gyroscope, magnetic sensor, all sorts of fancy stuff that I don't really understand. It's not really what I'm here to talk about. There are other reviews out there if you want to see the more video gamey or home audio, home entertainment thing about these. What I'm gonna talk about is what I think of them as FPV goggles, because that's really why they sent them to me, and my whole experience is using them really with good old Blue, my boy Blue. So first off, you got, and a lot of this stuff we already covered in the unboxing, so I'm gonna gloss over a lot of the physical aspects of these goggles, and I'm just really gonna give you my opinion on them, but we're gonna do a few things first. They're incredibly comfortable. I've had them on for a couple hours at a time now, and I think they're really comfortable. See, they fit on your head. My biggest complaint, and we'll talk about this in a second, and it's not Vuzix's fault, I think it's all Goggles' fault. I have to take my hat off. But so they fit really easily on your head. You just kind of take them, fit them right there. And yeah, so as you're using them, there is some light that bleeds in. It's never been like super distracting for me that there's light going in. It's kind of nice. I don't know that I'd like them to just totally close me off from the world. I like being able to hear. I like knowing what's around my surroundings. These are now gonna substitute for my hat for the rest of the review. So if you're trying to get something to go in, it has two inputs. It's got USB and HDMI. Now if you're using the Spark or you're using a drone, the way it works is, and in my mind when I originally tried these, I thought I could connect it into the USB port of the controller because I'm pretty sure, and I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that's how the DJI goggles work, and I thought these were gonna work really similarly. I thought they were gonna work the same way. But that's not the case. The way they work is you plug them into your phone, it mirrors the phone's app for your face, and it's like having a huge heads-up display right in your face of your drone flying. Stan in the comments mentioned that there's an FPV mode for the DJI app. I haven't had a chance to mess with that yet, and I'm not sure that I would want to change it because I really liked how it was the full app when I was flying it, so I could see the map, I could see all the flight statistics, all the flight information. It was just all right there in my face. It was a blast. It was kind of weird, and I'll show the video where I was flying the drone by my face, and so I was looking at myself. It was very Inception-y, seeing myself from myself while filming myself. It was pretty weird. But it was a whole lot of fun. They're really easy to do. One thing I will note, if you're gonna use this with your iPhone, because I have the iPhone 7, you have to buy this little adapter, the lightning to HDMI, and then you plug that into your phone. And that's what mirrors it so that you can use it. But let's go ahead, let's check out the inside of the displays. I'm not sure how well I'm gonna be able to show it to you. Let's give it a shot anyway. Okay, I couldn't get it to work. Maybe I'll put the little bit of the footage I was able to see, but you basically see this. So what I want you to do is, like, at that point in the video, rewind to it and put your face right up to the screen. And it'll kind of simulate the same thing. Don't do that. I don't want you to ruin your eyes. Well, I'm the everyday dad, not the everyday mom, but don't ruin your eyes. But yeah, so it's like having a gigantic, I think they call it a 125-inch screen, like right in front of your face, the way it works out. I really like them. Personally, I'd tell you if I didn't like them. There are some things I don't like, and we'll talk about that in a second. But for what they are, I really like these. I don't know why they call them headphones. Okay, we're gonna try something crazy here. Where's the drone? Oh no, I'm now looking at you guys through the Spark, with you guys looking at me through the camera. That's crazy. The future is now. I say that a lot, but I really believe that. Okay, so honestly, there's not a lot, hold on, So as far as a review goes, there's not a lot more I can tell you about these goggles. They have the twin screens. It's like looking at a gigantic TV monitor. They do all these things, and you can absolutely do FPV flight with your drone. I use my DJI Spark. I assume all DJI products are. Any drone you control with your phone, you can do FPV mode with these goggles. It's a pretty basic setup, and I don't mean basic in a bad way. So if you know me, you know my favorite camera is my FDR X3000. This is my favorite camera I have ever owned in my life. It is basic. All it does, it takes video the direction I point. I don't need it to do any more than that. And I really think these are basic in a good way in that you don't need a lot of setup, you don't have to calibrate them, you don't really need to think about it, you just plug them and go. And I'm a huge fan of plug it and go technology. That's where technology needs to get to. It needs to get away from super complicated, only experts can deal with it. It needs to get more in the hands of like the everyday people. The everyday dad, everyday people. So let's talk about the 3 things I really like about these goggles and the 3 things I don't really like as much about these goggles. So number 1, and we've already been talking around this, the immersive experience. I had never flown a drone through FPV goggles before. I'd never done first person stuff with a drone. I am blown away at how awesome of an experience it was. I want you, if you have not done FPV, I want you to at least try it. You gotta get out there. If you've got a drone, you gotta try it out because it seriously feels like you're flying, especially when you've got a full-on set that like kind of closes you off a little bit and you can fully appreciate the experience. I really like the immersiveness of these goggles. Number 2, and something I haven't really used as much, but I've used it with my phone a little bit. These can be used with more than just drones. I don't know if DJI goggles can say the same thing. I don't know if regular FPV goggles can say that. Like I said a second ago, ease of use. If it's easy to use, you will use it. If it's not easy to use, you will not use it. That's just life. Like, that's why action cameras are a huge segment of the camera population right now, because they're easy to use. Your cell phone is one of the most powerful cameras ever invented by man because it's always there and you can use it. Is it the best? Yes, because it's what you have. Yeah, there are cameras like my mirrorless camera that take better photos, but I don't always have my mirrorless camera. That's what I like about these goggles, is that ease of use, they just work. But you can also use them with more than just drones. So I can plug this into my phone and watch YouTube videos without bothering the everyday wife. Or I can plug it into, I have not tried video games yet, but if it works with my phone, I assume it'll work with like my PlayStation or something. I'm excited to give that a shot, but I don't really do too much with video games. So number 3, battery life. I've had these for a week. I've had to recharge them once now. I've only had to recharge them once. I've been using them pretty regularly, messing around with them with the phone, messing around with them with the drone, and I've only had to recharge them once. The box says it can go up to 3 hours. No, that sounds about right. So those are the three things, and those tick some pretty big boxes for me. Ease of use, immersive experience, battery life. What that spells to me is that you don't have to think about them, you just wear them. They just work. That is what I care about when it comes to technology. Now we're gonna talk about 3 things I don't really like as much. Number 1, and the big one, the goggles, they say they support input of 1080p, but the screen itself is 720p. I mean, that's pretty rough in 2017. I know that that's the standard really when it comes to FPV goggles when you're racing drones. So I don't consider it that big of a negative, but in the entirety of my use of these, the 720p, it's not a deal breaker, but it's pretty rough. If they could be 1080p, my mind would be shattered. Number 2, if you're gonna use these things with anything that's not like a TV or basically a TV, if you're not gonna use these with a TV or a game system, you have to buy an adapter. And if you're using an iPhone, these are not cheap. This was like $50 to buy this adapter. It would be nice, and I don't expect them to include Apple products with their product, but it'd be nice to have a range of adapters, or just to make sure that there's some kind of label on there saying if you're gonna use a phone, if you're gonna use your laptop, if you're gonna use this, you'll need an adapter. That'd be nice to know, because they weren't straight plug and play out of the box. That's not, like I said, none of these are huge deal-breaking issues, but number 2, adapters are expensive. Maybe Samsung phones, Android phones are a little different, maybe your adapters are cheaper. Apple wants its money. And number 3, and we already talked about this also, and it's kind of a nitpicky, dumb complaint, the name. So calling them headphones, if I were to have looked at these myself, if I would have been looking for FPV goggles and saw Vuzix headphones, well, that's not what I want. That doesn't have anything to do with drones or FPV or goggles. I mean, I get it. If I'd read the description, it probably would have done it, but there is so much on the internet right now that labels matter and words matter, just like my DJI Spark obstacle avoidance video. Do I think the Spark does a fantastic job of stopping and not wrecking into things? Yeah, I think it does okay, but words matter, and if you're gonna call something headphones, that creates an expectation in my brain of something that these are not, because I don't consider these headphones. I consider these to be goggles, or an immersive goggle experience. That is probably not a better name. Don't call them immersive goggle experience. That would not be good. But words have meanings, and when I see something that says headphone, I see something that says obstacle avoidance, that gives me an expectation. And when my expectation is not met, good or bad, it just creates some cognitive dissonance. So those are the 3 things I like, 3 things I don't like. But now it's the part that really matters. You could have gone on their website and found out all the specifications, what it does, what it doesn't do. There are other reviews out there that you can check out. But should you buy these? If you're looking for a pair of FPV goggles, I would say strongly consider the Vuzix iWear headphones. They're not paying me to say that. Here's why I think that. I found these online for about $300. That is pretty expensive, but if you're looking for FPV goggles, the cheapest pair I could find were $200, like around the $200, and those were straight FPV. All they did was connect with a special transmitter to an FPV race drone. That's it. If you're using these with a more consumer level or more photographic drone, these I think would be great. DJI goggles, I have no idea, I've never used them, but these are a reasonably priced alternative to DJI goggles. These can do much more than that. I haven't had a chance to see everything that they can do, but just the fact that I could plug it into my computer to play games, I could plug it into my PlayStation to play games, I could watch movies on it, I can use this to give a more private experience to my wife so she doesn't have to listen to all my stuff when I'm downstairs. I think that is a benefit that not other FPV goggles would have. So I really enjoyed using these. I had a lot of fun. The 720p is rough. I can't sugarcoat that for you. But if you don't need 1080p, it still is a good looking 720p. It's not like that vlogging camera I reviewed that the 720p was terrible. It's a good 720p, but it's still 720p. So if that's something you can get past, you should seriously consider getting these, because I had a lot of fun. I look forward to trying them out a little more. And you'll see these in videos more often as I try to figure out how to integrate them with my photography as I'm starting to learn how to take photos. Well, hey everybody, I'm actually gonna see you again in like an hour as we set up for the live stream. Super excited for it. I really hope you're all gonna be there, or that you all were there, because it's, again, the future. Hey, I'm the Everyday Dad. If you like what you saw, if you like tech reviews, vlogs, the channel's gonna be primarily vlogs going forward, but there will still be unboxings and tech reviews within the vlog. If you like what you saw, click that subscribe button down below. Once you click that subscribe button, click the bell notification icon right next to it to make sure you get informed of all the updates on the channel. Also, a new app I'm really getting excited about is Anchor on the phone. Follow me on Anchor. I am the Everyday Dad. It's like a mini podcast, but you can call in and say something to me, and I will respond and say something to you, because I'm a talker. Texting's okay, but I think talking is much better than texting. But hey, I'm the Everyday Dad. If I can figure out how to get all this stuff working, if I can figure out that these are pretty good and a lot of fun, you can figure it out. Thanks for watching.